Today we're going to talk about performance parts manufacturers, things you need to look out in today's day and age. As you guys know, there's been a rash of flat tappet mistakes. Flat tappet, they fail, they eat up parts, they ruin engine. My opinion of this is that it has to do with corporations. Back 30 years ago, even 20 years ago, that everybody was still in-house owned. Edelbrock, Comp, Lenati, you name it, across the board. Everybody was in-house. Everybody was American made. Well, it's not that way so much anymore. There's been a lot of big name. There's been a lot of corporate takeover. And with corporate takeover comes the accountants, comes the quarterly reports, comes you have to make more money this quarter than you did last quarter. And then so everybody scrambles and has to figure out, well, how do we make more money? The biggest thing that happened was everything got outsourced to China, Europe, and India, and wherever they could get it made cheapest, that's where they got it. And then they hauled it in, they put their name on it, and they called it theirs. That's how corporate works. I've been through it many times in working for companies. Once they go corporate, things they seem like quality and production goes downhill quick. Hey, if you're here and you're watching, smash that like button. And what's the easiest way to do? You cut down on your costs. And your cost is the biggest thing of any kind of production, whether it's machines, whether it's personnel, whatever it is, you cut down your costs. Materials, you cut down the costs. You just start cutting. It's like this. You got to beat those numbers. I went down the rabbit hole on this deal. All right. So here we go. First ones, and some of these are going to sting a little bit. Okay. So, but we'll go over it at the end. All right. First one is Edelbrock, Comp, Fast, TCI, Russell Performance, and Lunati are all owned by an investor group called Industrial Opportunity Group. IOP. They now own and they run all those companies. Again, I'm not saying it's happened, but this is what I have experienced in the corporate world. Over the last 20 years, I'm not talking about, headers and intakes and carburetors. I'm talking about internals, heads, cams, lifters, cranks, rods, all the hard parts for the internals, rotating assembly, okay? So Edelbrock is not owned in Edelbrock anymore. It's now out of Tennessee, I believe. Okay, it's because the Edelbrock's foundry used to be in California. That's not there no more. They're not making their parts in-house. I don't think they are. I really don't. I think they're coming from China and they're stamping their own name on it. I really do. Holley owns MSD, Mr. Gasket, Excel, Super Chips, and Edge. MSD and Excel are now owned by the same company. And it's still under Holley Inc. It's federally traded, but the majority of the ownership, because it went on the stock market, it got bought up real quick. AFR and SCAT are the same company. They're owned by TPE. So AFR and SCAT, they get their materials from China and they put their name on it, and they might do the finish work and stuff down here, but the majority of their stuff is coming over on the boat. And who you might trust, okay? First one is Brodix. Brodix is an hour away from me here in Mena, Arkansas. They are still family owned. There's no IP, there's no stock market, there's no. Brodix company is owned by the family, the original family that started it back in the day, okay? Let's see, Eagle Crankshafts, still owned by the people that started it to this day, in-house. Callie's crankshaft and materials, still owned and operated in America by original companies. Now, and here's my favorite, Howard's Cams. Now, I got a soft spot for Howard's Cams because they took the time out last year at PRI to spend a lot of time with me talking about things like this, okay? And I wish I had a camera on me just to record it, but I didn't. I was being respectful, and he was taking time out of his day to explain the ins and outs of the industry as it is today. By doing all this research, and I spent a couple weeks, online, Googling everything. I got to say that I went on a deep dive about Howard's cams, and they are still owned by the family. They have a production facility in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Everything's done in-house. Everything's done in-house. They build it in-house, American-made, on American soil, with American workers. They build everything. The gentleman from Howard's Cams, when I asked him, so if I buy your Tappets, are they going to last? And he says, we do our best to make them as good as we can. But with today's oils and all the additives you have to do for the break-in, he says, the best thing to do is just go retro roller. He said, that's the best advice I can give you. And this is an example he gave me, and like I said, it was several hours that we talked. That, okay, you spend the money to get all the machine work done. Bearings, crank round, rods resized, pistons, piston rings, the whole nine. You build the whole thing. You spend all that money. Kind of like this one right here. You spend all that money to put something like this together. Now, that $300 to $500 you would save by not going roller, but going to a flat tappet cam. If you don't have the right additive, and it eats that cam, or eats that lifter and the cam, and all those metal fragments go into the oil while it's running, while you're breaking it in, you're rebuilding the whole engine. So the thousands of dollars you spent, is it worth the extra $300 to $500 you spend for peace of mind? I still have a set of old original, these are from the 80s flat tappet lifters that are going on a camshaft in this end, but it's the last set I got, and they become impossible to find. I've been on eBay, I've been on Amazon, I've been everywhere I could think of to get, the old hardened, the ones that have the little that are eighth of an inch off the bottom that have the hardened bottom on them, the good ones from back in the day. I've got one set left. Okay, and they're going in this engine. But then what do I do from this point on? Because, like I said, you can't find them. I would rather have to pony up the money for the peace of mind. Okay? Because that's the problem we have these days. Because you don't know, they might not be made in America. They'll be, there are gray areas to all the companies. So bottom line, I'm going to be going for my internals. Now, everything on the outside, carburetors, intakes, exhaust, pulleys, all this stuff, it's not going to ruin your engine if it doesn't. You can always work around it if it doesn't fit exactly right. Okay, but the internals, the most important part, that's going to be my list. It's going to be Howard's, Brodix, Eagles, and Callies. Those are my 4 go-tos. I would hate to spend all the time I've done and money and expense to get this built to ruin it within 10 minutes. The last thing you want to be doing is breaking that cam and all of a sudden here, tick, 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 and you've wiped at least one cam lobe, and your bearings are gone. Everything is hurt. Just ruined a brand new build because you wanted to save a couple bucks. I just want to give you, like I said, I spent a lot of time researching this. I want to give you the ability to make a good decision about what you're going to do for your internals for your builds. I hope this helps. I hope I didn't step on too many toes out there, corporate world. You guys comment down below what you guys think. And I say, do your own research. If you're going to buy internals, do your own research and find out where these parts are coming from and what the manufacturing process is and who owns it and that sort of thing. Do your research. In the long run, a little bit of extra time on the computer reading can, reap huge benefits. So if you're still here, like, share, subscribe, smash that button, hit that bell, tell your friends. Y'all have a great day, because a great day today can be a list of usable manufacturers that you trust for your internals in the morning. Y'all be good.